life after the abuse. Now, leaving Joseph was hard, don't get me wrong. 1, because I had just had a baby. 2, I was barely into adulthood. And 3, I didn't know where I was going after leaving him. Now, I knew I was fed up and tired of him treating me the way he was treating me, putting his hands on me, and handling me like I was scum of the earth. The first thing I did when I left him was go and get a job. I went and got a job at Sonic, making $5.25 an hour. I was back living with my biological mom after the whole incident of her fiance and Joseph fighting at the hotel, and he came back with my baby. Now, I know y'all wondering, why was he over there fighting Joseph? Because I had called the police, asked them to go and get my baby, and they said since he had signed the birth certificate, they couldn't take her from him. So I was living with my mom. She said that I needed to get a job and that she would do what she could as far as watching my child. I was 100% grateful for that. Drop some prayer hands in the comment section for part 2. It's part 2 of life after the abuse. Now, I apologize for that first video. It was on 60 seconds. I didn't pay attention until after I recorded it, but I didn't want to record it anymore. So here we go. So I was living with my mom. I had a job at Sonic. She kept my baby while I was going to work. Now, she did get to this little point where we were living in a 2-bedroom apartment. It was her, my baby sister, my baby brother, me, and my daughter. And she said that I needed to pay her rent. And my mom was going to this church by the name of BTM, where my uncle, Bishop Brazel, is currently the pastor. He had 3 houses. One on West Longview, one on East Longview, and another one somewhere off of H.G. Mosley. The third house, which had 5 bedrooms, 2 living rooms, a kitchen, a 3-car garage, and a pool, he allowed her to move into. Now, my mom moved all of her stuff into the house, and I asked her if I could go with her there, and she said yes. Now, all the while my mom moved into that house, she allowed her K2 smoking fiance to come back there. Now, I was just wondering, since the house is as big as it is, y'all got the master room over there on the west wing, and I got the little room over here by the garage on the east wing, would I really ever have to encounter this man? Because 1, I know what he did to me before, and I really don't want to have to go through that again. Now, before y'all get to saying, why would you go back there if you know her fiance was doing all that perverted things? I left Joseph. I had nowhere else to go. So if my biological mom was offering me a place to stay, I had to take that in order to keep from being homeless with my daughter. So we moved into the house. I was in there with her for about 2 weeks. I rarely saw her. When I went to work, I was at work. When I came in, I got my baby and I went back to my side of the house. So one miraculous day she came in and she was like, well, I'm going to need you to start paying rent, baby. Rent? In a house that my uncle is allowing you to live in? Now, here's a little backstory on that. So when she moved into the house, my uncle was paying a $2,500 mortgage. My mom pretended like she had all the money in the world and could afford it. She wanted to charge me $550 for 1 bedroom in that house, but her K2 smoking husband could come in and out as he pleased, could drive her car as he pleased without paying 1 bill in the house. Ma'am, you work as a payroll manager for the state of Texas, and you make $1,250 bi-weekly. Why did you think you can move into this house paying $2,500 a month when you have to maintain the rest of the bills, your car note, and maintain your 2 baby children? So anyway, as time goes on, and I told my mom, okay, I got you, I'll pay. But then I remembered I had got food stamps. So I said, what if I give you food stamps and we could cut the payment for rent down in half? She immediately agreed with it, because not only do you have to come out of your pocket with cash for groceries, you can use food stamps, and that same cash that you were spending, you can use that to apply to your monthly mortgage. Drop some prayer hands in the comment for part 3. Now, my mom accepted the food stamps. The first month rolled around, everything was cool, fine, and copacetic. The second month rolled around, everything was cool, fine, and copacetic. Here we are, month number 3. She comes and was like, baby, I'm gonna need some money to help with the bills around the house. Now, I had already given my mama the $275 that she needed for the half of the rent that we had agreed upon. So I told her, okay, in my head thinking like she would forget about it and she wouldn't mention it to me again. She came back the next day. Baby, you got the money for the rent? Now, and I know that I work at Sonic. I make $5.25 an hour plus tips, and we don't really get tips in Longview, Texas. People don't tip like that, especially not at Sonic. So for a fact, I don't have another $275 to give you towards rent. Now, my mom, she loved living beyond her means, you know what I'm saying, with the Joneses, or acting like she got it when she don't. Buying Mercedes when you can't afford the oil changes. Buying MK purses when you don't got the money to put inside. Y'all get where I'm going? Pretty much trying to keep up with the people that's at the church who actually got the bread and you don't. So I hit her with the same thing. I was like, okay, Ma, I'm going to get you the money. So she walked out of the room and she closed the door, but I heard her saying, oh, she finna get out of my house if I don't get the money. She finna get out of my house. So now that we at this point in life, Not only am I still not comfortable here, one, you done moved all of this stuff in, and every time I lay on the carpet in there, why am I itching? So one day, I go and I was able to get one of the mattresses that she had bought because I needed a mattress. The air mattress I was laying on had a hole in it, so we kept going flat. I went in there and got the mattress. I brought it to the room. I put the sheets on there, put the pillows on there, and I laid down. Immediately after I laid down, I started scratching. So something told me to get up. I get up, I got my cell phone, I flashed the light. Tell me why it's bed bugs in the bed. Little flat red thing. So I'm sitting here like, bro, this mattress is covered in bed bugs. So I got up and I walked across the house to my sister's room. She was over there sound asleep. I tapped her. I was like, Destiny, get up, get up. Destiny's like, what's up, good? What's up, fam? What's up? Yeah, that's how sweet and subtle her voice is. That's my baby. I love her to death. I said, bro, I need you to come look at this. Come on over here. So we walked back to my side of the house, the east wing. And I looked and I was like, bro, look at this. She was like, oh my God, you got bed bugs. I said, yeah, I got bed bugs and your mama is trying to charge me a full $550 to live here. So a couple weeks had passed by. My mom was still pressuring me about the money. I kept telling her I was going to give it to her. And then we got into an argument. She said, you don't clean up around the house. You don't wash the dishes. You don't do this. You don't do that. Ma'am, I work at Sonic. I eat a burger every day. When I come home, I have no reason to go into your kitchen. So why am I in your kitchen washing dishes? I stay on my side of the house. You stay on your side. You the one in here cooking for your K2 smoking husband. Make him wash the dishes. If you want part 4, drop some prayer hands in the comment section. After me and my mom got into the argument about me not doing my part around the house, she actually told me I could get my stuff and leave. Now, being as big-headed as I am and very headstrong, I was like, okay, you ain't got to tell me twice, not realizing once I left her house, I was going to be homeless. In the mix of all of this happening, I thought something miraculous was going to transpire and my mom will come to her senses and realize that if she kicks me out, me and my daughter are going to be homeless. Y'all think she did? No, she didn't. She ran back to her side of the house, get on the phone and they do what parents do, get to gossiping, talking about how I'm being disrespectful, how I don't do nothing around her house, and that she was kicking me out. She got to saying a bunch of other stuff too that I really didn't care about because by that time, I had already started getting all of my things, packing it into my car. Now, y'all, it was just me and my daughter. I stuffed a lot of the things that I've had because it was really just my clothes and my daughter's clothes. She's a baby at the time. So it's just our clothes. I stuffed them into the trunk. So I got into the car and I started driving and then it hit me. We real life homeless. Like I'm homeless with my baby. I'm driving around Longview trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I really don't have any money because I had just given my mom the money. Then, of course, buying formula, buying diapers, maintaining myself, gas, my insurance for my car. Money was very thin with $5.25 an hour. Driving around for an unknown period of time, I actually pulled up to America's Best Value Inn and I backed my car into the parking spot and I turned off the lights. I let the car run as long as possible to make sure that it got really, really warm so that once I turned the car off, it wouldn't get cold as fast and Jaylee wouldn't be bothered. Now, her being a baby, I did have her in the back seat. She was laying down and I was able to recline my driver's seat and lift up the wheel as far as it would go so that I could try to get comfortable. I couldn't go to sleep because I'm thinking what can I do to not be homeless? What can I do? The little money I have to put gas in my car. I have to be able to eat. So I can't even afford to go and get a room. Laying there all night, getting no sleep. I'm trying to figure out what did I do so wrong? Why is my mom like this? Why don't you want to be a parent when you need to be a parent? I ended up drifting off to sleep. I ain't gonna lie. I was awakened the next morning by this big truck that was leaving out of the parking lot. I guess one of the workers had got a room or something there. And so I set up my seat, crunked my car, and then I dipped out. I went to my job and I explained to my boss that my mom had kicked me out. I didn't have a babysitter. And he was like, that's okay. Bring her in here and we'll watch her. Now, y'all, my family at Sonic are the best family ever. There was countless times where I was taking my daughter to work with me. And she would sit there in her car seat. Everybody would come by and make sure she had everything she needed. If she wanted a lollipop, she had a lollipop. If she wanted ice cream, she had everything she wanted. Drop some prayer hands for part 5. So being at Sonic, my family there was amazing. They made sure my daughter had everything she needed whenever I brought her to work, which was literally every day. Now, one thing he did say was whenever we had audit or whenever I knew that the boss was coming into town, I would just allow you to take off or you could leave, or whatever the case is. So when they come, they won't see that the baby's here. But I understand your struggle, so I'm not going to hinder you from working if you really want to work. Shout out to Milton, that's my dog. As time transpired, there was an elderly lady that worked there by the name of Miss Phillips. I started to call her Miss P because Miss Phillips was just too long. Anyways, she was working the morning shift and I was working the night shift. So she said, listen, if you trust me enough, when you come to work, I don't mind taking your baby home, watching your baby while you work. When you get off, just swing by the house and grab her. Y'all, I could literally almost cry because not only is it hard to focus at work, take orders, make orders, bag orders, and run them out to the car, but if your baby needs the slightest bit of attention or makes the slightest noise or anything, you have to consistently run over and check on her. So for that, I was grateful. So Miss P would take Jaylee home, and in my mind, I'm trying to figure out what can I do to pay her for doing what she's doing for me. And I figured, I got food stamps. Let me ask her if she wants food stamps. And I did. And she was like, baby, you ain't got to do that. I was like, that's the least I can do. You deal with her. I'm not sure how she acts with you at your house. You telling me she's an angel. She could probably be screaming to the top of her lungs from the moment you get her to the moment I come and get her. She said, well, if you want to, then you can. Shout out to Miss P. Now, I was giving her $100 in food stamps every month. I feel like I should have been giving her more, but she said that that's all that she would take and that I didn't have to worry about it. Time went on and I ended up having to transfer to the 4th Street Sonic. When I got to the 4th Street Sonic, the first thing I saw there was a 6'4" bright-skinned guy with big hands. The moment he laid eyes on me, he started giving me all googly eyes and smirking, and I'm like, I ain't talked to nobody in about a year and a half, you know? So maybe this won't be such a bad idea. Working there and everything, you know, you get used to people, and he kind of got comfortable with me and was like, so why you ain't texting me yet? Because I don't have your number. So he gave me his number. So chit-chatting with this guy, let's call him Gerard. Now, I can't use his real name. That man there is a real narcissist. And what he say he gonna do, he gonna do. Believe you me. So chit-chatting with the man, he did tell me that he lived with his uncle in his great-grandma's house that was on the south side of Longview. I didn't care. You had your own place to stay. I wasn't using him or trying to get to know him to have a place to stay. It was just like, okay, somebody's interested in me, so why not take a swing at it? As time went on and I was working at Sonic, he did invite me over to the house. But by then, I had already got daycare figured out for Jaylee. I had figured out that I was going to stay in this place called the Executive Inn, and we would just live there week to week. You want to hear the rest? Links in my bio to go get a book. It gets juicier. So I got in my car and I left and I went back to my hotel room wondering, what is going on with this guy? Is he just like the guy I was dealing with already? Or could he be different? I didn't ponder on the situation for too long because I still had a job to do. I still had an obligation to my daughter to be able to make sure we could still come back and forth to this hotel room whenever we needed to. So I was still going to and from work. You know, Miss P was watching my daughter. But I was still not making enough money to be able to pay the Executive Inn the money that they needed. So eventually, we did get put out. I didn't mention it to anybody, not anyone at my job or anything. Whenever I picked up my daughter, we would just go park in the Walmart parking lot. We would go to sleep, or I would drive around until she went to sleep, and I would park in another hotel parking lot, and I would just let the seat back and I would go to sleep. Whenever it was time for me to get up and go to work, I would go to Walmart, brush my teeth, hit the hot spots, and then I would go to work. Miss P would get my daughter, they would go in about their day, and I would finish my shift. This went on for a while until I ran into these people by the name of Marissa and Lynn. I only encountered them because one, Celeste, my baby daddy's friend or whatever, knew them because they were pastors and ministers of this church. So when I met them, the pastor, which is Mr. Lynn, my godfather now, said, if you need a place to stay, you know, I'm not going to pry too deep into it. You can come and stay with us. We do have an extra room. Astonished, I'm like, why are they offering this? Like, people aren't nice. Why are people doing this for me? And his wife came. She was like, I know how you may be feeling. We're not going to force it upon you, but you don't need to be out here with this baby. And I gathered my things and I went to the house with them. When I got there, my godmom was pretty much asking me, so what do you want to do in life? What are your goals? What are your aspirations? Because she was willing to help me succeed. And I told her, I want to write a book. I want to write a book about my life. And telling her that one time, and she telling me, like, you should do it. I think you can. I never, ever started it. I continued my job at Sonic. My godmom didn't work because my godfather worked at 2 jobs. So he told her she could stay at home and be a housewife. She said, you go to work, I got the baby. She started to call herself Grandma. And that's what she has my daughter calling her. It's beautiful. So working at Sonic, I was actually able to accumulate another car. I got me a 2017 Hyundai Sonata, and my parents were like, "Okay, you're doing good. You're doing good. You know, you're blossoming. We see that you're determined. You go to work sun up to sundown, and we're willing to back you up behind everything that you're willing to do." Now, a lot of y'all know that I had got in trouble in Louisiana. You know, I went and did my little stint in East Baton Rouge Parish Prison, but not only that, I had some more trouble that was lingering behind me from Shreveport. So one day, I was driving. I got pulled over for speeding. When the guy ran my name, he said I had another warrant out of Louisiana. Now this one I was aware of. Drop some prayer hands in the comment section for part 8. So after the officer ran my name and told me I had a warrant out of Louisiana, he took me to jail, to Gregg County, the South Jail, the new one they actually just built, right there off of High Street. When I got in and they started doing my paperwork, my fingerprints, asked me if I was suicidal and all the other questions that they asked about your mental health, your health, and everything else, the guy actually said, "Hold on, she got a warrant out of Denton County too." Now, when I told y'all in that little video on YouTube that I was a criminal, well, let's just say I chose a very distinctive path in life. I also did mention I've been to jail a few times. They was all for little petty things that I was doing, but it was all a survival mechanism in my defense, because it's not like I was just out here doing it on purpose. So when he said that, I looked at him and I was like, "So what does that mean?" He said, "Well, you got to be extradited to Denton County first. When Denton County is done with you in the state of Texas, then will they come and extradite you to Louisiana." So immediately when I got my phone call, I called my godparents to let them know, like, "Hey, I've been arrested. My car is such and such. Please take care of my baby, blah, 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 blah." My parents were like, "You know, we got her. You know, we going to come and get you as soon as we figure out what's going on." For that, I will forever, forever be grateful. I sat in Gregg County for about a week. You know, I had no charges in Gregg County. Even though I did have tickets, I don't know why they didn't figure that part out, but I guess that was petty as opposed to what these other places wanted with me. So after the week in Gregg County, Denton County actually showed up, and they drove me all the way to the other side of Dallas. And when I got there, it was not better. I can say inside that jail, it looked like a college dorm room. You know, there was no cells. We had regular toilets, regular showers, regular sinks. We had a microwave. We had a washing machine. We had a PlayStation. We had a little room you can go in and eat popcorn and watch TV. And we had a little outside thing where we can go and play basketball, lift weights, play card, or do whatever it is that we wanted to do. Our bedding area looked just like bunk beds that you would have in your house. Now, the mats on them were pretty garbage. But other than that, you would think you were in some type of nursing facility that wouldn't release you when you were ready to go home. Being in Denton County, I encountered a lot of people. I encountered people who was in there for theft. I encountered people who was in there for assault. I encountered people who was in there for large quantities of drugs. Now, me personally, I was in there for some things that I had did that I can't speak on because it's still going on. I'm still on probation for it. So if they see this video and can pin it to me, then boom, probation's over and I go to jail. But just know, there wasn't anything bad, like bad or whatever. So anyways, I sat in there and the probation officer came and she did an evaluation on me. She said, "If you pass this evaluation, we'll put you in front of the judge. We'll put you on 6 months probation." My charge in Denton County, since it was the state of Texas, was a misdemeanor, meaning they could extradite me in state. If it was across state lines, your girl would have got away with it. If you want the next part, I need you to go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Come back and comment some prayer.